Hi everyone, it's Sam, NFTstatistics with your proof daily NFT countdown. Hope you had a great weekend. A lot to talk about today. Going to talk about this Nakamigos mint and launch that's kind of gone a little bit crazy, as well as a bunch of buy the rumor, sell the news stories, maybe without even buy the rumor, just some headlines that hit and the prices didn't do too well, but we'll go into those details. A bunch of art sales. Let's get right to it. Starting with a quick market overview. Volumes were up a fair bit. Now, this was almost entirely because of Wrap CryptoPunks. On Saturday, actually, Wrap CryptoPunks did more than 60% of the total volume on Blur. If you remove Wrap CryptoPunks, you can see this volume chart, which shows that we're kind of at those levels around average for where we were before airdrop season 2 on Blur began. Market share entirely in Blur's court. About 85% of ETH volumes were on Blur. Now, this is the large cap index. You can see here that we were actually up a little bit. This is the first time in a while this index has been on a slide that we have seen that index go up a touch. It was largely because Bored Apes were up a little bit. Bored Apes are the largest component in the index. Azuki strong as well, while Moonbirds, Cool Cats, VFriends, Doodles still a little bit weak. In terms of mid caps, they were flat. A bit of strength in Captains, Killer Bears, VV Checks, weakness in Alien Friends. About Captains, they recently did the next step in the art. They did the same thing with Potatoes, where they go step by step, give you something to look forward to. Not all that crazy, but they changed the art a little bit. The price rallied. Here are a few of the other types of Captains and their baby art that just got revealed. Art project, in terms of art projects over the past 24 hours, really not a lot of volume. Only 2 projects did more than 10 ETH. The most was with Anti-Cyclone. There were 3 Anti-Cyclone sales. Looking back at the full weekend, though, these are a few of the notable sales over the past 72 hours. That last chart was just over the past day. A Gazer is sold for 21 ETH. Anti-Cyclone for 12.5, well above the 9 ETH floor, and then a Harvest and a Memories of Chi Lin sale that looked kind of interesting. One thing I did want to talk about was punks. We talked about how last week, the floor price got up to about 74, and then you saw an airdrop farmer, 2 airdrop farmers dump a ton of supply. Machi Big Brother was the big buyer, and the price really tanked from there. It went from 74 to about 60. Now, over the weekend, Machi Big Brother did sell his position, and the price started to rally a little bit from there. Here you can tell this blue line is the number of NFTs that Machi Big Brother has owned in the Wrap CryptoPunks collection. You can see it got well over 100, and then he sold them all off. He does kind of keep bidding on them because it is the best place to earn Blur airdrop points, but really largely out of his position. He lost about $1,500 on punks alone. So really just a lot of kind of negative P&L impact from that trade. Overall, his P&L since airdrop season 2 began is now down to negative 5,000 ETH. And I think this is kind of important because it is representative to how there are a lot of risks to the airdrop farming process, especially if you're going to be as aggressive as he is. A few people have asked me, is this because he's making so much on the Blur that it actually offsets these losses? And I don't think it really is. I did the math. I think there's about $150 million based on current Blur prices that will be dropped in season 2. I think he has around 5 or 6% of that, and the season's only around 1/3 over. So if you kind of put that all together, he could be getting maybe 5% of 50 million, which would be about $2.5 million. His losses are already well over $8 million. So I think broadly speaking, he just got stuck in some pretty bad trades, which have hurt him. And again, it just shows the risk of that strategy. Story number 2 to talk about, Nakamigos. This collection was kind of on the radar screen on the tops list every single day. I finally did some digging on it this morning, found it pretty interesting. Here's the art. Pretty cool, fun art, lots of interesting traits. What's interesting about this in terms of numbers, they've done more trades in the first 3 days, 36,000 trades than Bored Ape Yacht Club has done over their entire life, which is about 2 years. So just insane amounts of volumes for this Nakamigo project. The price has gone up and up. The median mint price was 0.01 ETH, and the price first went up to 0.1 ETH. Now we're up to 0.2 ETH. Might still be even higher when you read this. Who knows? Or when you see this, who knows how it will go. Some facts about the project, though. 20,000 NFTs minted at a median price of 0.01 ETH. End of Satoshi owners got early access. I got one of those passes. I didn't get early access. I always forget to do those types of things. Story of my life. The name Nakamigos comes from Friends of Nakamoto. It is 24 by 24 pixel art, just like CryptoPunks. No Discord. And they say in their description that an OG crypto artist with many years of experience in digital art was the creator. And I think that could be Satoshi, the creator of MFers. He gave End of Satoshi Pass holders access to this. He worked with West Coast NFT, which makes smart contracts. They also made the smart contracts for MFers. So I think it's kind of interesting, but those are the basic details of this project. Here are some of the rare types: crocodiles, bots, snowmans, balloons, others. In terms of the top sale was a 3.69 ETH sale of a one trait robot. The bots aren't the most rare, but I think the 1Ts are pretty valued in this collection. Also a balloon, a skull, a ghost, and a couple others selling for 3 ETH or higher. Some of my lessons here, why is this doing well? One, I think this idea of maintaining mystery, you don't know who did it. It's clearly someone who's active, but you don't know exactly who it is. Tends to do well with NFTs sometimes. You have fun, diverse traits that a lot of people like to collect. So you see people wanting to buy a bunch of them. I think all those factors contributed to it. Interestingly, the vast majority of the volume was on OpenSea. So a lot of times when things do tons of volume right now, like Gitcoin presents, it's all because of airdrop farming. There probably was some airdrop farming here, but the majority of the trades so far have been on OpenSea. And another thing they did, to get influencers on side, to show that they're in the community, understand what's going on, is they created these honoraries, which are all really awesome. Just these 24 by 24 pixel images that were given to a bunch of different influencers and important people and artists and random people in the space. Here are a few of them: D's, Alpha Centauri Kid, Kath Samard, Snowfro. I think these are all pretty cool. One of the things people have been speculating is that maybe Larva Labs is behind this project. You've seen a few tweets about this saying maybe this is Larva Labs. I think it's probably not true. One of the reasons I think it's not true is one of the honoraries was 4156, Punk 4156. And 4156 actually had a pretty contentious relationship with Larva Labs, sold all his punks, kind of slammed the door on the way out, had a bit of contention there. So I don't think this is someone that they would have given an honorary to if this was actually Larva Labs. I think Sartoshi feels like it makes a bit more sense right now. Third thing to talk about, a bunch of headlines that I'd put in this buy the rumor, sell the news category. 3 of them I'll talk about. First is that y00ts are going to Polygon today. They announced this a couple days ago. Today is when that transition starts. Here you can see their tweet. They say that there are 24 hours where you will get a bunch of benefits if you migrate. So they really want people to make this move very quickly. A little bit about it. One is, again, you get rewards for migrating in the first day. 2 is that gas fees are free. They are covered by Magic Eden. For Magic Eden, DeGods and y00ts have been such a huge part of their business. I'm sure they want to get that market share even when it goes to a new chain. 0% trading fees for the first 30 days. Now, one of the things I think is kind of interesting is this idea of 33.3% royalties on y00ts, which you don't move by April 3rd. Here they tweeted about it. They say the paper hands bridge tax. I think what happens here is if you're going to move to another chain, and clearly y00ts got a great deal to go to Polygon, you really need to make it happen. But a lot of people don't want to do it. It just takes time. It takes energy. They're comfortable in their ecosystem. So they're doing everything they can to make it difficult to stay in Solana and to encourage you to move to Polygon. Now, if you look at the response, this announcement was 3 days ago, and since then, the floor has gone from 170 to 132. And I think basically what's happening here is, one, it's a lot of work. Like, I own a y00ts, and you almost would rather just sell it on Solana than, I'm sure it's quite easy, but figure out the process and go to a new chain. I think that just it's work, and it's easier sometimes for people to sell. A lot of people are comfortable in Solana and just aren't as excited about this move. But it'll be interesting to see. I think Frank is someone, and that team is a team that can figure out how to make things work. So will be fun to watch that play out. Second, buy the rumor, sell the news story to talk about is the Otherdeed second trip. We talked about this on Friday. Here are a bunch of screenshots. Basically, a ton of people were in this, gaming environment, really cool universe, really cool graphics, interesting play, where they got to be part of this world. I'm not going to go too deep into all the different steps of it, but seems to get good reviews on the graphics side. 7,200 participants. While you're in that world, you collect blobs and toads and other stuff. That's how you get points. All those points help your team win. One of the teams won. It was Jimmy Wong's team. Those guys got awarded with some hat or something like that. Who knows what it was? But that was kind of the overall situation there. At the end, Otherdeed tweeted, thanks to the Voyagers who participated. Remember, finders, keepers. Who knows what that means? But Otherside does Yugo always does like to keep a little mystery, keep a little anticipation going. So, they're doing that again here. In terms of the price performance of Otherdeed on the back of this, you can see that it's been really rough over the past few days. The floor price went from about 1.65 to 1.3. So again, I think you put that in that buy the rumor, sell the news kind of bucket. I also think you have 100,000 Otherdeeds. And even if this game is cool, and this game feels like it's going to take a little while for it to really get to a place where it's fully playable, but even if it is cool, I think people are wondering, how does this make my Otherdeed valuable? Like, where does that play into this picture? And I think there are just so many unknowns here. It feels like a long-term story that it makes sense to me that, that you're not seeing huge people buying, even if the game is pretty awesome. Third thing, last buy the rumor, sell the news thing to talk about, this ROG announcement by Pudgy Penguins. Pudgy Penguins have always had these fishing rods, basically, which are very simple NFTs. And they're always kind of a meme because no one knew what they meant. They were just simple fishing rods. and they've had floor prices of like 0.5 ETH, even though people didn't know what they were, and they were very simple. Well, Pudgy Penguins came out today and said, and it made an announcement. They said, here is the value of the rods. Basically, they're going to serve as a multiplier in our ecosystem for drops, licensing deals, and claims that they have in the future. Pretty cool. You know, it kind of gives them some value. They're only about 8,000 rogs, a lot more Pudgies than Lil Pudgies. So you'd think there'd be demand. Well, the price did the opposite. Again, what you've seen here, you know, the floor price went from 0.7 to 0.45 after an announcement, which I think really seemed entirely positive. But I think it's just kind of this continued trend. People want the FOMO, people want the momentum. And when you lose that, people are less excited about the utility. That seems to be the way things have traded recently. So that's kind of the last one in this buy the rumor, sell the news theme. Last thing to talk about is a few notable sales. The first is this Bored Ape Yacht Club number 2062. It is a Blue Beams sold for 318 ETH. This is pretty high for a Blue Beam sale. Looking at the 4 most recent Blue Beam sales, they've been at 305, 310, 250, 260. So this one was above those prices. I think the merch shirt was pretty clean. Overall, though, it's good to see a 318 ETH sale, biggest sale of the weekend. You know, generally speaking, NFTs have been weak and Grails have been particularly weak, but here they're alive and well with this NFT. 2 quick art sales to talk about. This piece, 2069, A Day at the Races by Vittorio Bonapace, sold for 18 ETH. Really cool image. The idea of this is it's 2069. There are a lot more environmental problems, and everybody's wearing these these helmets, these spacesuit helmets, and racing wooden cars in the name of the environment. Kind of a cool piece. One thing I like about Vittorio Bonapace is that he shows these work in progress images on his Twitter versus the final. I think it's really cool to get a little bit in the head and in the workflow of a digital artist. So check out his Twitter. There are a few where he did that. In terms of who this is, on his Twitter, he says he is an independent OG digital artist living on Mars, super rare, early 2021. On his website, which I'm pretty sure is his, he says he's an illustrator, an art creative director based in London, providing visualization and art for architects, designers, and developers. I think his work is really cool, though. Worth checking out his super rare page. Here are a bunch of other pieces that he's sold. A lot of them are videos with really cool lighting and animation that happens. This one on the lower right sold for 24 ETH. That one sold to Vincent Van Dough recently on AOTM. So really some nice momentum in his work. Congrats to him as well as the buyer. And then the last thing to talk about, the last sale, is this piece, 1752 by Billy Dinh. That 1752 is because of the time on the left side. It sold for 9.2 ETH. This is just a really cool photographer. Looking at his website, he says he's visited 50 plus countries, and his photographs capture everyday life and find beauty in the usual. The finishing is presented as stills from out of a movie or a dream. I think that's a great description. You know, just kind of mundane scenes that really look dramatic and interesting. He's had some great sales in the double digits, 11, 15, 14, 12. And I'd recommend checking out his website because it really is just awesome, fun photography that really feels cinematic. So pretty cool stuff there. That's all from me. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you liked it, give us a like below, subscribe to the channel, comment, tell us what you think, and we'll be back tomorrow and every single weekday with another show. Have a great day.